the brilliant, dearly missed rock icon, David Bowie, was a man of many talents, including acting. Not every screen role he undertook was in a noteworthy film. However, he did appear in a number of great movies, worthy of his legendary status. I'm Stephen Archibald, and welcome to my movie podcast. Hello dear listener, and welcome to They Came From Within Cult Movie Reviews. Watch That Man, the cult movies of David Bowie. David Bowie's first appearance on the big screen was rather inauspicious. In The Virgin Soldiers from 1969, we briefly glimpse him as a soldier in a bar in Singapore. David was an established rock star when he next surfaced on the silver screen, having already worked his magic by using Mick Jagger on the Superb Performance from 1970. Nicholas Roeg was to triumph again by directing another charismatic music idol in another groundbreaking movie. This one being, of course, The Man Who Fell to Earth from 1976, the sombre, experimental tale of a humanoid extraterrestrial who arrives on our planet in the hopes of building the means of transporting water back to his dying planet. But Thomas Jerome Newton is an alien who becomes all too human, all too corrupted by our world. With his odd-coloured eyes and his gaunt and pale, yet rather beautiful face, it's impossible to imagine anyone else better suited to the role. I think it's a wonderful film, despite the fact Roeg wasn't allowed to use any of Bowie's music due to contractual complications. Nicholas had been able to do so in regard to Mick Jagger on Performance, and it proved highly effective. After starring in Roeg's 1976 movie, Bowie relocated to Germany. David started assimilating German culture whilst making his classic Berlin trilogy of Low, Heroes and Lodger between 1977 and 1979. In 1978, David was persuaded to work on a German-based production with the promise of working with Marlene Dietrich. The film was called Just a Gigolo, and it was directed by the Englishman David Hemmings, an actor best known for starring in such films as Blow Up and Deep Red. Set in post-World War I Berlin, David played a Prussian officer who finds himself working in a Berlin brothel. It wasn't a happy experience for him. David joked to the British magazine NME that it was his 32 Elvis Presley movies rolled into one. Worst still, he never got to work with Marlene on the picture. Bowie's next cinematic appearance was also German related. We see him performing live in concert in Ulrich Adele's Christian F. from 1981. It's a harrowing true story of a teenage Bowie fan who becomes a heroin addict and prostitute. The concert actually took place in New York, one which some of the movie's cast and crew attended. David's venture into horror, The Hunger, received decidedly mixed reviews upon its release. Even the great Roger Ebert referred to it as an agonisingly bad vampire movie. Ouch. Today, Tony Scott's film is rightly perceived as a super stylish cult classic. Bowie's great as John Blaylock, a centuries-old vampire who starts aging rapidly. It's a well-judged performance, full of pathos. Bowie gave another exemplary performance in Nagisa Oshima's prisoner of war drama Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which was released the same year as The Hunger, 1983. In which he played the defiant captive Jack Celliers, a man who arouses the passion and guilt of the camp's commandant, who was played by the great Japanese musician Ryuichi Sakamoto, who we sadly lost in March of this year, aged 71. David acts in a slightly off-kilter manner here, but his performance is undeniably moving. David then put in a lively appearance in John Landis's 1985 comedy drama Into the Night, portraying an English hitman. He was a dynamic advertising bigwig in Julian Temple's undervalued Absolute Beginners in 1986, and he supplied the movie with its utterly gorgeous theme tune. Bowie's music played an integral part in his next genre picture, Jim Henson's Labyrinth, which was also from 1986. It's an energetic fantasy which pits a teenage Jennifer Connelly against Bowie's strangely appealing King of the Goblins, called Jareth. David penned such pleasant songs as Underground, As the World Falls Down, and Magic Dance. Moving on to controversial drama, Bowie was really rather good as Pontius Pilate in Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ from 1988. The scene in which Bowie's Pilate tells Willem Dafoe's Christ why he must be put to death is blood-chillingly convincing and nuanced. David turned up as Special Agent Philip Jeffries in David Lynch's typically weird and wonderful Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me from 1992. Having already written a terrific song about Andy Warhol on his stunning 1971 album Hunky Dory, David got to play the man himself in Julian Schnabel's 1996 movie Basque, about the rise and sudden demise of the black artist Jean-Michel Basque. Bowie gave a creditable impression of Warhol under the artist's distinctive fright wig. David did not appear in another significant genre movie until a decade later. He made a welcome appearance as the inventor Nikola Tesla in Christopher Nolan's period mystery The Prestige, which came out in 2006. It's the film in which Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale play rival magicians. And let's not forget, aside from the multiple roles and identities he displayed in his own concerts, David also acted on the stage. David played John Merrick, the Elephant Man, on Broadway in 1980 to critical acclaim, and he also starred in the BBC television version of Bertolt Brecht's play Ball in March 1982, releasing a 5-track EP to tie in with it. David also hosted the second season of the horror anthology TV series The Hunger from late 1999 into early 2000, taking over from another iconic Englishman, Terence Stamp. Bowie even appeared in the opening episode of the second series, entitled Sanctuary, which was first shown on the 10th of September 1999. Apart from all these goodies, Bowie's inevitably been the subject of countless documentaries and specials, and a number of them are rather exceptional, including the BBC's Cracked Actor, which was broadcast on the 26th of January 1975, during a turbulent drug-fueled period in David's life. D.A. Pennebaker's 1979 film Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars captures the infamous July 1973 concert at the Hammersmith Odeon, in which shocked fans were left convinced that Bowie was retiring from performing live. And as recently as May 2022, we had the unveiling of Brett Morgan's stunning film documentary, Moon Age Daydream, which bombards the senses with the great man's thoughts, sounds and visuals. It's absolutely priceless. I'm Stephen Archibald, and thank you very much for listening to They Came From Within Cult Movie Reviews. You can find all of my podcasts on most podcast platforms. Please feel free to like, follow or subscribe. Thank you very much for listening. Take care and goodbye for now.